close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left.
Hey guys, today on the podcast we got Mark Knowles. He's a retired field hockey player that's captained Australia. He's won gold at Athens in 2004 for Australia and won bronze at Beijing in 2008 and London in 2012. He won gold at the World Cup in 2010 at New Delhi, 2014, and also he's won 4 Champions trophies. I hope you guys enjoy the podcast today with Mark Knowles, and I'll see you in the next. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks very much, Max. Look forward to the chat today, mate.
Thanks. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Early on, some type of sports person. I grew up in Rockhampton in central Queensland, so I was basically any sport you wanted to try. Obviously grew up watching the State of Origin and that kind of stuff with a country town. And then kind of probably when I got to about 13, 14, 15, when my parents started taking me to more hockey tournaments and playing hockey, I wanted to play at the Olympics for hockey.
Yeah. Did you ever play rugby as a kid?
Yeah, I did. I played rugby league for my primary school up until year 7, and we actually won the Queensland primary schools championships. We beat Iona College from here in Brisbane in the final, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, would be. What would your oldest friends say about you?
I reckon they'd say I'm a pretty good bloke. I've grown up a bit from when I was a little bit of a smart-ass little kid, if I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
I think they'd say that, I had a very good career in high-performance sport, playing 15 years for the Australian, men's hockey team. Guess I'm very, very family-orientated with my kids and my wife and what we like to do together. So I hope they'd say some good stuff about me.
Yeah. How long have you known that friend for?
Oh, well, my oldest friend, probably, I'm 36 now, so probably 32 years. And then, you got your grandparents and people like that who've known you your whole life. So I reckon, fair while.
Yeah. What are you most proud of in your life so far?
I think in sporting terms, the Olympic gold in 2004, and that's, I guess, the pinnacle of all athletes who can play at the Olympics, is to win Olympic gold. And I got to do that as a 20-year-old kid, very, very new into the team, and the first and only ever gold medal for men's hockey. And I guess the parts around my life is, that I absolutely love being engaged in the community, being a role model. I guess trying to show my kids that an active, healthy life is, has given me a lot, but is also very, very beneficial for their health. So I guess the sporting would be the Olympic gold, and the off field for me would be, my family and my kids.
Yeah. How do you handle hard times?
Oh, it's a challenge. I think for me, as I kind of got into high-performance sport, I was quite realistic that it's very rare that you win all the time. So I guess I went in with a bit of a mentality. I didn't like losing, and everyone would know that about me. But I guess I went in with a bit of a mentality that it's going to happen sometimes, and you've got to be prepared and you've got to deal with it. The other part of hard times is obviously injuries and non-selections. And I think for me, I did have a few injuries, nothing major. But I guess a key message that I got from my coaches was that if you're not getting injured, we're not training you hard enough. So I always thought if I've got a little injury here or there, I must be training well, or I must be training hard. So I guess, that part around the mentality of understanding that things are going to go wrong, that hopefully you put yourself in a position to be able to have another chance later on down the track. And that was very important for me with like longevity and staying in the game. But yeah, it's part of the journey. And if you relate to, that to, schooling or relationships or people who are working, it's very rare you get every job that you go for. It's very rare that you get, A's in every subject at school. It's very rare that you keep every single one of your friends for your whole life. Like you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some.
Yeah, definitely. Now, going into the on-field stuff, what's it been like playing across the world in hockey? Because you've played in a couple of countries.
Yeah, I have. It's one of the things that I guess makes hockey such an amazing game. It is very, very worldly. I obviously got to play at a lot of different countries for the Australian team, but I was also very, very lucky to play for 5 seasons over in the Netherlands, playing for a massive club over there at Hockey Club Rotterdam, and I also played for 5 seasons in the Hockey India League. And I know most of your listeners would have heard the Chris Lynn podcast that you did. Linny plays over there in the IPL, but the Hockey India League is based just exactly around the cricket IPL. So you're in franchises, they bid for you in an auction, you stay in 5-6-star hotels, good crowds, people who love hockey. So it was pretty amazing, mate.
Yeah. What was that experience like playing in the Netherlands?
Oh, it was absolutely unreal. I guess for me, being a country boy from Rockhampton, I never would have dreamt of someone paying for me to live in another country and play hockey, a sport that I was good at. So for me, I played for 5 seasons over there at one of the biggest hockey clubs in the world. You get massive crowds, you get a car, you get a phone, you get food, you get treated well, you get to train and play with other international players. But for me, one of the parts that I absolutely loved about it was the opportunity for me to get away from the Australian style and try and just broaden my knowledge of hockey and the game. So I absolutely loved that. And I also got to, take my then girlfriend and now my wife over there. So she was over there with me. Then we took our 1-year-old over for my last season. So it's pretty cool that your family also gets to play a part and be involved in that.
Yeah. Now, going back to that Indian League, did you ever feel pressure to perform after getting in the auction?
Yeah, definitely, mate. The auction was crazy. It was right after the Olympics in 2012, and I was a pretty good player. I was one of the co-captains of the Australian men's team. I'd kind of been progressing. I was 28 years old. I was playing good hockey. And I got in the auction. I was one of the higher end paid players. But I guess the part for me, mate, was that throughout my career, one of the things I guess that allowed me to continue to become a good player and be better and better and push people and push myself was that I actually had those expectations on myself anyway. So, yeah, someone was paying me a lot of money, but I still wanted to be the best player in that team, or I still wanted to be the best player in that league, or I still wanted to be the best player in the world at that time. So that pressure kind of came from me within as much as that someone was paying me a good lump of money to play hockey for 7 weeks.
Yeah. What's the difference between hockey in like the Netherlands and India compared to like Australian hockey with competition and play style?
Yeah, the competition it's just more professional and it goes for longer. So the competition in the Netherlands, it's 7 months of what we would class as our national competition. So in Australia, we play the Australian Hockey League, which is now called the Hockey One. It goes for 5 weeks. Over in Europe, it's a 7-month season. So it's a proper long, you're there for training. In the mid-season break, when it's snowing in Europe, you go away. So we went away to America for a pre-season trip or mid-season trip. We went to Spain for a mid-season trip. So that's different. In terms of playing styles, the European style is far more structured. It's based far more around soccer or football. So it's a lot about holding the ball. It's not so run and gun and crazy. Whereas in India and Australia, we're very much, play what you see, have a go. It's quite crazy, our style of hockey, or has been previously. So I guess they're the biggest differences.
Yeah. Now we'll get into playing for Australia. What's that like running out as an Australian hockey player?
Oh, absolutely amazing, mate. It's, I guess, what I wanted to do for a long time. A little bit about my story. In 2003, when I was about to make my debut, the first day that I got picked to play for Australia, I just turned I was 18, just about to turn 19. I broke my ankle. So I missed my international debut. And 4 months later, I'd been through a rehabilitation block where I was in training with my ankle. And my first training session back 4 months later, I broke my ankle again. So in 2003, I never played a game or trained. So I guess it made me more hungry to make my debut. And I got to do that in Malaysia in 2004. And, you know, to run out and represent your country is something that, as I said, I always wanted to do. And when it happened, I thought, far out, I've been waiting so long. I want to keep doing this for a long time. So I was 19 years old and I retired when I was 34. So I had a pretty amazing career.
Yeah, definitely. Now we'll get into the Olympics. What was it like winning that gold medal?
It was absolutely amazing. It was a bit weird for me in some ways. Like, I was 20 years old. I'd only been in the team for 6 months. I guess I hadn't learned enough about some of the previous, like, I knew about them from watching, but some of the previous failures, not failures, but disappointments. But I also hadn't been involved in the team for, 2 or 3 years, kind of slugging it out every day in training, talking about the Olympics every day. I only came in for 6 months, 12 months before the Olympics. So I'd only just had a taste of what it might be like. And then to win, it was a real, I guess, it was amazing. It was the greatest thing ever, but it was a bit of a shock for me because from then on in my career, I thought, oh, you just go to the Olympics and you win. And I realised after 2008 when we lost the semi-final and we won bronze. Then in 2012, we lost the semi-final and we won bronze. And then in 2016, we bombed out in the quarterfinals. It wasn't really until I finished my Olympic journey that I thought, far out, like, that was bloody amazing. But it's so hard to win Olympic gold. You've got to have absolutely everything go right for a period of time. You've got to be playing well. And in my 3 Olympics after that gold, that didn't happen for us.
Yeah. This is just like do you wish you won your Olympic gold medal a little later in your career to, like, see how much it meant after losing one?
It's pretty amazing, mate. Like, I've done a lot of speaking and a lot of podcasts, and I think you're about 12 or 13, aren't you?
12.
Well, so that's an amazing question because I've never been asked that before. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, absolutely. I honestly do. And I think the parts around it would be that I would have been more a part of the journey like I was in 2008, 12 and 16. I definitely would have appreciated it more because I would have had a period of time leading up to that to understand other things that had gone on with people and players and coaching and the sporting landscape. But when you win one, no matter who you talk to on this podcast, when you win something, you never want to give it back.
Definitely, that's what I've learned doing this.
Yeah.
You captained Australia, didn't you? For a little bit?
Yeah, for 9 years.
Yeah, just a little bit of time there.
Yeah, so I was co-captain for 5 years. 5 years, and then the sole captain on my own for the last 4 years.
Yeah, what was that like, being the captain of an Australian team?
I think it's an amazing honour. That's the first thing I'd say, is that it's not something that you don't say, I want to captain Australia. A lot of people I know say they want to play for Australia. They want to play at the Olympics. So it's an amazing honour to lead out your nation. I think the parts for me why I loved leadership is it's generally my persona to be a leader. And even when I wasn't captain or when I haven't been captain of a team, I've still loved leadership and learning about it and trying things and succeeding and failing. But I think for me, it kind of fit my personality with what I asked of people and my teammates, but also what I showed them myself. And I guess the part, for you, for all of the listeners and all of the great guests that you've spoken to, leadership is very different for many different people. Like some people lead from the front. Some people don't say much in the media, but they lead by their training and their standards. Some people are a mix of both. Some people like to let others do more. I guess I went through all of those leadership styles, and you've just got to try and find the one that either works the best for your group that you're working with, but also works the best with your personality.
Yeah. What's it been like? Oh, sorry. What in the end? What did you figure out was your favourite?
I think the end of my career was the style of leadership that I was most proud of. I guess I became a far more inclusive leader, allowing other guys to be more involved instead of, I guess, trying to do everything myself. And the two parts why I think that was the best style of leadership for me was that when I was trying to do everything myself, a lot of other guys just stopped trying to lead because they thought, oh, well, he'll just do it himself. So I actually stopped other players learning how and having the opportunity to lead. And the other part that was really powerful for me was I actually felt like I became a far better leader when I wasn't doing everything all the time. So my messages became far more powerful when I only spoke once a day, not 20 times a day. So I guess that's the style that I enjoyed the most, but it was also the type of person that I kind of was becoming with my family and my career and the team. So I don't know whether it's the best style of leadership, but at that time it was the one that was the most valuable for myself and the team.
Yeah. What's it been like watching field hockey grow the last 20 years or so?
Yeah, it's been, I guess, something that we're all hoping, or we were all hoping. We weren't sure, I guess, that if it was going to happen. But it's certainly in the men's side of the game, with Europe becoming far more powerful and proactive in their club leagues, signing international players, and then the Hockey India League coming on. It's been fantastic for the game. I guess in Australia, we're one of many, many, many sports that are battling for, for troops and for relevance. There's so many sports now that you can play that weren't around before. You can play professionally in all of these codes: footy, cricket, AFL, soccer. In the female game, you could never play at the Olympics in many team sports for ladies. Now you can play rugby sevens. You can play professionally in AFL, cricket, all of those sports. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your path to professional hockey?
Okay, go. Sorry, mate.
That's all good. What was your path to professional field hockey?
My path?
Yeah, what was your path?
Yeah, well, hockey's got a very good pathway system. That's one of the very, very big strengths of our game. So you can play in under 13s, under 15s, under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, national development squad, national senior squad. So I guess the pathway for me was coming through the Queensland system as a regional-based player, playing school hockey, club hockey, progressing slowly into like Queensland under 15s, Queensland 18s, Australian under 18s, Australian schoolboys, Australian under 21s, and then national squad. So for me, one of our great strengths in hockey is the pathway system that I think we need to promote a bit more. But certainly my pathway through was one that was very beneficial for kind of continual growth, but also opportunities if you missed an age. Like I didn't make the Queensland under 15 boys team when I was 14, but a year later you can make that team.
Yeah.
If you don't make the under 15s, a year later you can make the under 16s. Yeah. So there's multiple opportunities along that way.
Yeah. What are your goals for the next couple of years?
Oh, my goals now are a bit more in the in my working and family world. So I manage the Queensland Academy of Sports personal development team. So I work with elite athletes from Olympic, Paralympic and Commonwealth Games sports, and working with them on anything that's not training or competition. So a lot of work around mental health and well-being, like community engagement, being role models, all of their career and education, like university schooling, all of their personal branding, so sponsorships, social media, networking, and then the behaviours that are involved with being an elite athlete. So things around coachability, performance planning. So at the moment, I love my job. In the future, I guess I'm, as I said, my personality and the type of person who I want to try and be is, I guess, someone who leads others. So I guess I'm looking in the future to get into roles like high performance directing roles, sports management role, or sports manager roles, so I don't have anything that I'm looking for at the moment, just apart from my own personal growth now to continue to be able to go for those jobs in the future. And I guess just supporting now, I'm still highly involved in community sport. I coach at East Hockey Club in Brisbane. I'm the coaching director of that club. I still play in the men's team. My wife plays. My 3 kids, are involved in AFL and hockey. So plenty of work to do. I've got 3 kids under 9. So we're very, very busy.
Yeah. How are you keeping yourself busy and fit during this little time?
Well, I haven't been, mate. Unfortunately, I did about 140 kilometres of running. I started doing. I love long distance running, and I did about 140 k's in April. And I was trying to do, some good half marathons and good kind of 10 to 20k runs during the week. And I've injured my hip and my back. So I think it was a combination of kind of stopping in the gym, not being able to do gym work to stay kind of strong and healthy, and then doing the extra running. So I'm having a little bit of time off at the moment, and I very, very much look forward to getting back into some fitness and starting back with community hockey, local hockey on the 11th of July.
Yeah. Who was the worst teammate to room with through your career, and why?
I didn't have too many bad roommates, but I think in general, if you speak to hockey players, it's any goalkeeper with all of their gear that stinks. They take up so much room with those massive bags, but not many bad roomies at all. I was pretty lucky. We had a very good team that kind of enjoyed each other's company. Had a fair few roommates who talked a fair bit of trash and listened to bad music and stuff, but no bad roommates, sorry.
Yeah. What's the best word to describe you right now?
That's a good question. Right now, probably passionate. Like, I'm still passionate about healthy, active lifestyles. I'm still passionate about elite sport. I absolutely love watching, hockey and other sports at the Olympics or the Paralympics or the Commonwealth Games. I'm still passionate about my kids being involved in sport and community sport. So I guess that's important for me still.
Yeah. What advice would you give a 12-year-old today?
Well, I think one of the things I'd say is that you're going to get a lot of advice throughout your life. So just be careful of, who you listen to, and make sure it's people who you trust and are trying to help you. But I think one thing I'd say is don't be afraid to try different things. And if I put that in a sporting context, everybody at the moment is wanting to be a specialist or elite in a sport at a young age. And I actually think people need to try different sports, try different subjects, try different things in the community, hang around with different people to actually find out what they want to do, but also to find out what they're good at. So I'd say don't specialise too early.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the podcast today.
Hey, thanks very much, mate. Absolutely love what you're doing. Look forward to sharing it and keep up the good work.
So that was Mark Knowles. I really hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Happy Father's Day to all those dads, and I'll see you in the next one.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown.